Hello out there, and doing an overview and then a giveaway, that is right, a giveaway of this brand new prototype from Dam Designs, and this is called the Oni. And the Oni is actually available for purchase on a crowdfunding website called Indiegogo. Just came available, I think, yesterday. But it isn't going to ship for a while, not going to ship for a couple months. And what the people from Dam Designs did was they sent a number of these knives out to the people in our pass around group to check out. These went around, and when this one got to me, they actually said that I could hold on to it and do a giveaway on this channel to support all of you and get something back in your hands, but also to sort of like create some hype around the release of this knife on that crowdfunding website. So I said, absolutely, why not, you know? Definitely want to be able to give back to you guys every chance that I can, for sure. But also, you know, I wanted to get this one in hand and check it out because I'd never reviewed one of their knives before, and they have released some other very cool things. And so today what I want to do is just go through some of the details of the knife, go through my perspective on things and some of the things that I really like and some of the things that maybe I don't. And then we'll get into how that crowdfunding kind of deal works. And then we'll get to the giveaway, where one of you is actually going to get this one in hand and get to keep it in hand. So that's a pretty cool thing, and I'm excited to do this. So let's just jump into some of the specs and some of the overall aspects of the knife. And you might be looking at it and thinking, I don't see very many small knives like this on the channel, and not very many like chunky knives like this on the channel, and definitely not a lot of Tantos. This one might not be the knife for JT. And guess what? If you're thinking something like that, you're actually right. I can't lie, you know, as much as I am going to be supportive of the design and the way that it's executed, because it's actually got some very, very smart aspects to this design, it really isn't something that is going to fit into my EDC. I'll come right out and say that now. You know, I'm very preferential when it comes to the kinds of knives that I have, and this one wouldn't quite be large enough for my primary EDC, and it's just a little too like stocky and chunky for my backup. So I don't know that I would ever really fit this in to what I carry, but there's still a lot of value here for someone, even maybe someone like me. And let's get into some size comparisons, and we'll revisit that when we talk about the price point and my take when it comes to small knives in just a minute. So some size comparisons. This one is a little bit large, but here's the Kershaw Scallion. Maybe the Chive would have been a better comparison. Here is a really good one when we're just lining up the edges. Spyderco Manbug. And then the best comparison, especially when it comes to value, is this knife right here, the CRKT Squid. And like I said, we'll talk more about that in just a bit, but there is the overall length. Well, you can tell just from those comparisons and just looking at the knife, it's very short. And as far as Tantos go, one of the reasons why I don't really buy them and I don't love them is because for me, the way that I cut, I don't know if I'm just weird or if maybe I don't know how to use a knife. But when I have a Tanto, this edge, like, it just gets wasted. You know, so like what I end up using is this more primary edge, and so you lose some of that extra cutting edge. Here we have about a cutting edge of about 1.75 inches overall, and only about 1.33 inches of it is, you know, an edge that I would really get a lot of use out of, I think, at least. This seems to be a very useful knife in other ways apart from the blade shape for me, and I think that just like starting cuts and piercing, definitely a Tanto is a good thing. As far as aesthetics go, it's definitely a good thing. I think it's a good looking blade. Just doesn't fit my overall preference when it comes to just that style. I'd like to see if they end up making like a drop point version or something just a little bit different. But as it is, the Tanto, a little bit short. The big other kind of spec that we want to talk about, the dimension, is this thickness, because this is a beefy knife. And while it might not fit into what I'm looking for out of a small knife, it does really add to the ergos of it, and it does make it very comfortable because it fills the hand better than a smaller knife of the same length would. So that actually will turn out to be a good thing when we get back to the overall ergos. But I do want to stick with the blade and talk about the steel. The steel on this one is S35VN. There is another option though, a couple other options, and they're all really good because they're all really well priced. So we do have a D2 version that is going to be all G10. And then this version here is the S35VN with like carbon fiber and G10 laminate. And it's layered. And I'm going to go in detail about how exquisite is the word I've decided to use these scales are, because they're super cool. That's maybe the little more casual version. Super cool. But then the most high-end version is all titanium. It's a Framelock S35VN as well. So a number of different tiers, but the blade steel is going to go from D2 to S35. I'm no expert when it comes to sharpening at all. I would probably go with an S35 version if I were to buy this, just because I feel like I'd be able to keep this part sharpened and I wouldn't have as many struggles as maybe I would with something harder with D2. I don't know, that's just spitballing. Not 100% sure about that. As we move on back and we're sticking with some of the aspects of the blade, that transitions us into the ergos and this jimping. This jimping is extremely intentional and it's very, very smart. And it's one of those things that when you see something like this in a knife, you understand that whoever designed it really put a lot of time into making something that would work and be functional, and nothing about this is just throwaway. When you look at this jimping, it is thick and it is deep and it is going to grip the thumb very well. But even more than that, it ends in this ramp. And one of the problems, if you've ever had small knives, is trying to figure out, okay, how am I supposed to hold this thing? How am I supposed to get it in hand in a way that is going to let me get as much use out of it as I can? Because if I want to cut for a long duration of time with a small knife, what's going to happen? It's going to suck. A lot of times it's going to suck because it's going to hurt and you're going to be getting hot spots because it just doesn't fit right. And this design, this shape, it tells you this is how you should hold me. And it's going to be good. And it absolutely is. You know, you get a lot of really good traction on the jimping, and then the ramp gives you that extra bit of lock-in. It's exceptional. Very, very smart job. It almost looks like a harpoon kind of blade shape, and maybe the look of it might not be for you, but when you get it in hand, you start to get this understanding as to why they did it this way, and I just have a really good appreciation for it because it makes the knife make a whole lot of sense. Now, when it comes to the scale and how this is in hand, this is a little bit slick. It is a more polished kind of carbon fiber scale, so even though that might not be my favorite, this up here is so good that it doesn't even matter. And when I look at the pictures of the titanium version and of the G10 version with D2, both of those scales seem to be something that would be higher traction than this. And so I would guess that this version is the slickest of the three, and it's still very, very good in hand. So I would say no matter which one you get, you're going to get a knife that is very comfortable and isn't going to go anywhere. It's going to lock in very nicely. The last thing I want to say about ergos, very smart decision, is having a lanyard hole right here. I don't like lanyard holes, don't get me wrong, but on a small knife you can see where my fingers are actually going to end up, and the pinky is not going to get on there. So if you put a lanyard on this, pinky wraps around, you can actually get that extra purchase. Smart move, putting it in a way that's accessible and actually would be usable and used for a lot of people, I think, on this model. So that is a pretty cool thing. Let's focus now more on these scales. So like I said, there are the different versions, but this version, the middle of the road version, which, I mean, S35VN and layered G10 is not middle of the road at all, but this is like the middle price tier. Look at those layers. So I don't really know exactly if it's just like the carbon fiber laminate like on multiple different layers, but that just looks so good. It's super classy. It makes this knife versatile in that it is definitely a cutting tool, but it looks so high. Like, I don't know if high end is the word, but it looks like more than a tool when you have something this cool going on. And this is available in colors that are like yellow and also blue. And there might be another color, but those are the two that I can remember. So yellow, blue, red. And while it's very neat down here and in the places where it jumps out, I really like the subtlety on the top of the scale here. It just sort of gives you that pop of red when it rotates. Very neat. Yeah, one of the coolest scales that I've seen all year long. So, very impressed with it in that regard. Now, when it comes to lockup, opening, closing, the lockup on this one is a liner lock. The G10 version as well that has D2 is a liner lock, and then the titanium, all titanium version is a titanium frame lock. Lockup on this is really good. A little bit of a tank, you know, big, small, but beefy. Opening is another big talking point because we got that. That's a front flipper, guys. Front flippers might not be for everyone. I actually think it's cool. I think it's a neat little touch on this knife, especially since there are different ways that you can open the knife. It is very easy to get your thumb in here and pop it open. So you can slow roll it. You can pinch it open. You can actually, if I can do this, almost spider flick it. How about that? It's not that difficult to do. But the front flipper, even if you don't want to do it quickly, you can just pop it open. But very authoritative, wow. Very authoritative opening and closing. So it has a really nice pop to it. Great knife to fidget with. Great knife to play around with. Yeah. Gets high marks in that area. So now that we're 12 minutes into this overview, geez, let's talk about the crowdfunding, the pricing, Indiegogo, when you can get it, how you can get it. So the way that Indiegogo works is that there are different levels of the perk that you can get at the introductory price. And what I mean by that is I think that like right now, if you go on and you wanted the D2 version with G10, it's $30. There were a few spots available where you could get it for $25. Those all sold out. Now the ones that are available are $30. Still, pretty ridiculous deal. You know, you're going to pay $35 with shipping. You know, this one right here is $60. $60. That's 35 yen. Come on. The titanium version right now is $80. All right? So some pretty good deals, some pretty good prices, introductory prices. But what's the real price going to be? Let's say you pass on this and then you decide down the road you're going to want to check this knife out. What it looks like and what I'm understanding is that this knife is going to be in this present form an $80 knife when all is said and done and it's readily available. $80. The all titanium one will be right around $100. The G10 and D2 one, I think, would be, I'm trying to do the math, something in like the $40 range, right around $40. So what I like about this, and sort of bringing it back to value and bringing it back to the CRKT, the CRKT squid for me, and this is a limited edition one, but like the regular squid that comes in at less than $20 is a knife that, everyone should have. It makes no sense for me to not own a squid. I don't carry knives this small very often, but knowing that you have it and it's inexpensive, it's not burning a hole in your pocket because you invested a ton of money on a knife you don't use, for me that just makes a lot of sense. You know, the opposite of that, I had a Spyderco Techno once, and guess what? I never carried it because I thought it was too small. It wasn't the size that I wanted it to be. And why would I have a $200 knife in my collection that I have no interest in carrying except for specific occasions where I need a knife of this small size or blah, blah, blah. You know, it just didn't make sense to me to ever have an expensive small knife again. And that's why I like the squid so much. Now with this, with the Oni, you have all these different options where you're not going to piss away a lot of money on a knife that you might not use. So someone like me who just wants a good small knife around for the times when I might need it, you know, that $30, that $40 on the D2 version, that's a no-brainer. You know, but even more so, you know, spending $80 on this, $60 right now, I think that's a heck of an investment. And I mean, I've been going back and forth. I've been going back and forth all day about whether I should do it myself, guys, to be honest. I mean, I had it in my cart, and I mean, I don't even love the blade shape, you know, and I don't even love the thickness, but just at the value of it, just to have it and not put so much money, you know, into something this nice. If you think about knives that are this nice, paying $60 for it, it's a steal. So yeah, I think that it's a great idea to go and get involved in it right now. But even if you don't, the price that you would pay if you decide you want one down the road is worth it. All right, so now that all that's out of the way and I've blabbered for literally 16 minutes, let's go through the giveaway. So the giveaway for this is simple, guys. You watch the channel, you support me, and I want you to support the people from Damn Designs. So what I would really like is I would like you to go online to the Damn Designs website, which I will link to down below, sign up for their email address, get some information about them, get familiar with some of their products, and see what you like. I can't check on anything to make sure that you do. That's just something that I think would be very cool of you to do, since they're being nice enough to support the channel by sending this knife this way. All you actually need to do in order to enter the giveaway is just comment in. I'm not even going to ask you to be a subscriber. If you're watching a video for 16 and a half minutes that I put up and you're not subscribed to the channel, like, please enter the giveaway. You've earned it. All right, so all you have to do, comment down below in. Be over 18, know your local knife laws, but this thing being as short as it is probably not going to break any law that I can think of anywhere. Yeah. So comment in, and that's really all I got. And if you want to hop on over to the Indiegogo website and the Damn Designs website, which will be down below, I would appreciate it personally, and I'm sure they will as well. But any questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, let me know about that down below. We'll run this for, 5 days, and then I'll close it out and pick a winner and get this baby to its new home just before the holidays start. How about that? Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching, and take care.